Thanks for coming along. We are joined, as always, by Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a James Beard Award nominee. The group includes Rustico, 2 locations in Alexandria and Ballston. Also newly opened GBD in DuPont Circle here in the district. A great place. Just went there for the first time a little while ago.
Awesome.
Greg, it is always good to see you.
You too.
What is on tap this week?
So this week we have a beer from a relatively new brewery out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's called Perennial Artisan Ales. And they're one of a number of new breweries. Well, it seems like every place has 4 or 5 new breweries opening or having opened. Richmond is blooming right now in Virginia as well. But Perennial is coming out of St. Louis in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch, of course, and making fantastic beers that are just innovative every time. So they do a lot of Saison styles, but they also have some hoppy beers. They have a number of fantastic imperial stouts, and this one is one of those. It's Fantastic Voyage, an imperial sweet stout that's also brewed with some coconut. Brewmaster Jim Liebig put this one together. It's phenomenal. And when we say sweet stout, the difference here is that rather than it being kind of charred and roasty like you'd expect from typical imperial stouts, maybe a little bit smoky, more like dark chocolate or espresso than latte or milk chocolate, sweet stout will employ typically lactose milk sugar into the brew. This sugar goes unfermented by the yeast. The yeast cannot ferment it out, and so it kind of remains. So you have this kind of creamy, milky sweetness to balance the roasty qualities of the darker malts employed. And the coconut that's used here is doing the same. It's kind of working in congress with that lactose milk sugar to balance out. And what I think you'll find really intriguing is that it doesn't necessarily taste like any of those things. It's all very well integrated.
Very inviting if you enjoy stouts.
The mouthfeel is really the most remarkable point.
I was going to say it's so smooth.
Smooth and silky. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, like, when you smell the beer, what's cool is that it definitely has this kind of like iced latte quality to it. Hints of mocha in the nose. On the palate, it's got this creamy, silky sensation. And then the way it finishes is it goes chocolatey, and then the vanilla comes through in the end. It's got this like kind of vanilla, vanilla ice cream flavoring in the finish. So
I shouldn't say it out loud, but it came into my mind. You could put this in your coffee mug in the morning, and no one would be the wiser.
No, they wouldn't. It's really cool. But yeah, muted chocolate, more coffee than chocolate as well. Strong, I think it's edging towards 10% alcohol, which you would not believe. I know it's a little dangerously drinkable, I guess.
I've got a close buddy who just hates coconut, anything coconut, but the coconut taste is, I don't even know if I would have necessarily noticed if you hadn't told me or I hadn't seen it on the label. So it's very subtle, so don't let that put you off.
Because that's a good point, because a lot of times, I think brewers kind of go back and forth on whether they want to tell you what's everything that's in the beer, because there are certain polarizing ingredients out there. Coconut is for sure. I definitely know a lot of people that are like, I hate coconut, and then some that love it. And I think that it's always kind of a question like, do you really want to put it on the label? Because somebody might just be like, oh, I don't like that. But in this case, it proves that you should always give it a shot either way, because real great brewing integrates flavors rather than overwhelms with them.
And I'm not a big stout drinker. I like stouts, I really do. But this one is exceptional.
It is smooth.
It is smooth and good. What would you pair? I mean, dessert.
Right. Well, that's the thing about this. I actually I tried this with some Thai curry, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Red and green curries with the coconut in there. And like you said, it's not just about coconut and coconut here, but it's a great jumping off point, because Thai curries have that creamy, milky kind of coconutty qualities. And then also like, Thai soup like Tom Kha, that is a coconut-based soup, is absolutely stunning with its satay sauces, things like that. So also Indian, Vietnamese food. It's got, the thing that's crazy about it is that it's strong, but it doesn't taste strong. It's soft on the palate. So I think it's really cool, the fun, kind of like earthy, dark cocoa, coffee, and coconut cream flavors it would bring into those cuisines would be awesome.
I'm just always fascinated by drinking some of these, a milk stout. You may not see that all the time. It might be the first time you've heard of it. I just always marvel at how brewers say, let's try putting that in there.
Yeah,
and,
I know, exactly.
And as we've talked about before, there's a huge amount of hit and miss. Maybe more miss than hit, but that's I guess what they probably really enjoy.
Right, absolutely. But it is a cool one, and there's there's some great examples of milk stout. Like Left Hand makes a milk stout that we see in our area quite a bit. That's fantastic, lower alcohol, really sweet. And Bell's Brewery comes out annually on a seasonal release with special double cream stout, which is actually not brewed with lactose milk sugar at all. They just have a malt bill that's higher on some caramelized malts rather than on the really dark black malt. So it comes out creamy and sweet and smooth rather than chocolatey, but there's no milk sugars added to it.
If you see Perennial, give them a try. As I've been told Greg a few times, I first had them in St. Louis while covering the Nationals for the radio station last October, and really liked one of their hoppy offerings at the bar lobby. I didn't spend much time in the bar lobby. I was working for the most part. We have a message here from Nick, who says he loves Beer of the Week. He's gone back and watched every one that's out there. And since he brought it up, I should say at WTOP.com, every single Beer of the Week video since we started in December of 2011 is still there. You just go to the search box, type in Beer of the Week, and you'll find it. And so he and his wife are new into beer, craft beer. They really enjoy it. She chose Churchkey for her last birthday party, and they had a great time. And he has some questions about beer pricing and says, frankly, and this is the case with many people, $22 for a large bottle of beer sometimes is a little too much. So he's wondering if you might suggest, and you mentioned you talk a bit about beer pricing, but he loves Sierra Nevada. That's fairly affordable per six pack. What are others that he and she might try that are in that price range and great beers?
Well, so that's it's interesting when we do WTOP and we do Beer of the Week. I'm kind of on the hunt always for stuff that's new and intriguing and interesting and stuff that you might not think about if you just kind of saw it on the shelves. Beers that I think are worth seeking out. And a lot of times, unfortunately, newer beers can be pricey and
rare ones,
rare beers,
harder to find.
And one of the things I like about this question is it's just a fact that we need to be open about is that beer is getting more expensive. And this is from your six-pack, craft beer, I should say, from your six-pack up to your 750 milliliter. Beer is getting a little bit more expensive all the time, and it is kind of a harder thing. I would say that, so there's a lot of ways to approach it. One is what we do at most of the neighborhood restaurant group restaurants and bars, as far as draft goes, is we seem to always offer beer in tasting sizes as well as in full glasses. And many of them, if not most of the beers that we do on Beer of the Week will also be available on draft. So that's a great opportunity to not have to invest $9 into a smaller glass of beer, but you can maybe get a taster for $4 and things like that. So there are kind of ways, one of the ways that we've kind of combated the higher price points that are out there. The other thing I also like to mention is that I totally understand about how much more expensive these beers are or have become, but take into account what you might spend on wine. Because I find, especially on the retail level, a bottle of beer like this probably goes for like $12.99 at most retail shops. For the quality, and this is my opinion, of course, for the quality of this beer comparative to other beers, I find that for a price point of $12.99, you'd be hard pressed to find the same caliber of wine in a retail shop. So, and this packs a punch too. So you're getting your money worth.
Yeah, so not far off.
Which is a hard. But that is a difficult thing as well, because you see 4 packs of. Well, let's just talk about like British beer that comes over in bottles. It's expensive by the time it gets here, and the best of those are 5% alcohol, if not lower. So that can be a hard thing as well. So I think that as long as we keep in mind that the hard thing for beer is that it's playing this game where it's being compared to the past, and domestic swill is going to be very, very cheap. When you can get a 30-pack of Busch Light for, I don't know, I can't say I know the price now, but I'm sure it's low, for probably the same price as this. Yeah, but I think sometimes we have to think about craft beer more in the wine category than in the macro beer category. And once you do that, I think it makes a little bit more economic sense. And the other thing I try to do too is think about these things in categories. So if there's a beer out there, we were just talking about this sweet stout. If you saw that on the shelf for $12.99, you didn't want to drop it on this one bottle of beer, but you saw a 6-pack of Left Hand milk stout right next to it or nearby for $10.99, then you could, similar flavor, similar categories, and pick that one up, And then if you decide you love that flavor, maybe then you think about going back to grab this. So you can kind of, as long as we think about, excuse me, style, we can always find something that's a little bit more approachable, as far as, price points go. And then also that there are a lot of American breweries, local and otherwise, that are pumping out great six-packs at an affordable price all the time. You mentioned Sierra Nevada, but, you walk in and most things in six-packs from Sierra Nevada or Victory, DC Brow, Bell's, Founders, Firestone Walker, 4 or 6-packs are going to be a little bit more affordable, I think.
And you mentioned before we started this segment, think local. I mean, if you haven't tried DC Brow, Flying Dog, Mad Fox, Port City, Aleworks out of Williamsburg, those are probably going to be
a little bit better. They'll be a little bit better.
They're closer.
But we also are seeing, they're cheaper. But we're seeing, kind of price points leveling out. And you'll see those cheaper. But at the same time, Blue Mountain's a great local brewery from Afton, Virginia. And their 6-packs, bottles and cans are right in line, very affordable, $9.99, $10.99. But then they have their Barrel House series of beers that are $7.50s that are more expensive. So it's kind of where we are in craft beer right now. And some beers are kind of demanding a higher premium. But I think that there's going to be options out there in all price points.
Nick, thank you very much for the question, and thank you to you and your wife for faithfully watching Beer of the Week. And
Absolutely.
I think we will try, when you come across something particularly amazing that maybe stands out to you at its kind of more affordability, we'll definitely try to point that out. If you've got a question for Greg, here is the email, beeroftheweek@WTOP.com. Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly, and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.